Hi and welcome to my Facebook Live tonight. So it's self-care week, and I thought that I would share with you a few kind of thoughts around self-care. So what it is, or kind of how I see it, and some tips about how you can kind of keep on top of your needs whilst juggling everything else. This is one of the issues I guess that I see most people struggling with. Especially if you're wearing lots of different hats and trying to be somebody that gives to other people and that cares about other people. So if you're a parent, if you're caring for anybody else in your family, may well be also if you're sort of in caring professions. So there's lots of people out there who like to give a lot, but we struggle to kind of give to the person that we need to give to a lot, which is ourselves, as well as struggling to ask for help. But that's a whole other topic that we can cover on another session. So what is self-care? Well, in a nutshell, it's really about looking after our own needs. So to be able to look after our own needs, we need to be able to kind of identify them and understand them. So it's about really looking at that in all the different areas of our lives. So one kind of way that that's sometimes talked about is in terms of our emotional health, our mental health, our physical health and our spiritual health, and whatever those mean to you, because for every person that I speak to and I spend time with, they will all have different elements of that. And it's about knowing what it is that tops up. If you imagine those as little pots of energy, with self-care, what we're looking at is what you need to do to top those energy pots up. I'm not saying you need to be at 100% in all 4 energy pots all the time, because that's unrealistic, and we don't need that. If you're doing something that doesn't need mental capacity, then actually you don't need to be worrying about that side of things. As long as you've got the mental energy that you need at that point in time, that's good enough. So with self-care, it's really about getting in touch with those different aspects of us, but it's also thinking about the different areas of our lives. So thinking about the different hats that we wear. So, whether it's that you're mum, that you're a partner, that you are a professional, that you are an employee, or that you run your own business, a friend, a daughter, a husband, all those different roles that you play, and where you're at in terms of your energy levels, and also thinking about the different parts of you. So sometimes we can become over-focused in one area, so sometimes work can take over. And then we forget about those different areas of our lives. So it's about really looking at those 4 sort of energy areas that I've talked about, but also looking at the different areas of our lives, the different things that we do that make us us, and asking ourselves, okay, where am I at with those? Am I topping my needs up in there, or have I completely forgotten those things that are my leisure activities? When did I last do something that was about me having fun? So it's really about kind of drilling down into those areas. And then it's about thinking about, okay, so what is it that leaves you feeling good, that leaves you feeling inspired, that kind of gives you that feeling where you do come away feeling like you've kind of had a boost, or sort of an emotional hug, that kind of leaves you feeling like you can go out there and sort of tackle what life throws at you. So because if you can sort of drill down what those things are, and when you need to top yourself up in different areas, you're going to be able to roll with the crap that life throws at us, and the rolls and the kind of the ups and the downs. So for me, the clients that I work with and the people that I see, and friends and family that I know, that can kind of take life with the ups and downs, and kind of, yes, they have their moments and their wobbles, but they can kind of come out the other side and get back going again. What they have about them is that they're actually nourishing themselves, and they are caring for those different aspects of them, because it builds that inner resilience and that core that allows us to kind of cope with the stuff as and when it happens. So it's really about that kind of understanding of ourselves. So it's about looking at different times you're going to need different things, and that's where I said at the start, it's not about saying that you'll have everything 100% all the time, because that's not realistic, and actually we haven't got enough time in our day as it is, let alone then trying to aim for 100% in terms of every aspect. So what some of my sort of tips in terms of managing that is to kind of think about, I mean, one of the things that I do is at the start of the year, when I'm sort of thinking about my vision for the year and the things that I want to get out of the year, I also think about what is it that I need for me this year. So it is about me, and that can feel a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but it's really good to think just about me. So this year on my promises list, I had things on there around making sure that I have enough time around water, because water is really important to me. Also music, and there was reading, and then there was other specific activities, like I really wanted to become more mindful, and yoga. So it's kind of like breaking it down in terms of things that I wanted to do this year that were linked to my kind of vision for the year. But then it's about keeping those alive. So it doesn't mean that those promises I do all of the time. So there are some aspects that do become and are healthy to be a daily sort of more sort of routine. So for some people, it's something that I'm on at the moment, is trying to make sure that I'm drinking enough water, because you know we all know that keeping hydrated is good for us. So that's a physical kind of thing, but it also is linked to all those other areas. And it may well be another common one that I speak to a lot of people about is around kind of sleep, and sort of evening and bedtime routines and those kind of things. So there are some areas you might find need to become sort of daily or weekly routinised things that are about looking after you and that element of self-care. But there's then may well be that it's about looking at kind of your month. So when I'm planning my month, I kind of then bear in mind kind of what is it that I'm wanting over the whole year, what is it that I'm wanting kind of in terms of my promises to myself. So I kind of check in. So for me, I kind of realised that actually a couple of the promises I really hadn't been kind of giving any attention to this year. So that was probably around September sort of time. So then that became a focus for me for the month, was to start trying to tackle those. Another thing to sort of take into account is what's happening for you. So different life events happen, and that then kind of can throw us in different directions, and then we really need to sit down and look at what our needs are and really listen to our gut in that as well. So it's about kind of having that kind of your vision and your plan for how you want to care for yourself over a longer period of time, but then regularly checking in. So kind of maybe a monthly check-in, a weekly check-in, and taking into account what you've got coming up, what the pressure points are going to be, what your needs are going to be. You know, if you've got a big work deadline coming up, or maybe you've got kind of spending time with some relatives that you know you find actually drain you quite a lot. What can you do to bolster yourself to get through those times? What is it that's going to make that difference and keep your inner core sort of topped up and resilient? So hopefully that's been of use, a little bit of an insight in terms of some of the things that I sort of go through with people around sort of self-care. It's not all about spa days, although spa days are very nice, and are always kind of a good time to sort of top up and give yourself that. But also, you know, self-care, it can be a lot of other smaller regular kind of things that you can do, and things that just, it's about kind of looking after you. There's a really nice saying around kind of, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you can't be the best of you and be what you want to be for everybody else if you aren't looking after you. So that kind of kindness and compassion and support and love that I'm sure everybody wants to be giving to other people, it really starts right at the beginning with yourself. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful, and I will be back again soon for another Facebook Live. Take care for now. Bye.